Alrighty, welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. As always, I'm Jordan, and this is the last of the latest whiskeys I've picked up, and will probably be the last whiskey that I pick up for a while. Going to start really honing in on very specific list of whiskeys that I'm going to try and track down. There are, I don't know, like 8 or 10 Islas that I want to track down. I'll put the list on this video, maybe, or maybe I'll put it in the description. I won't actually go through the trouble of uploading it into the video itself, but here, let me read off what it is. Okay, so I'm looking for these specific Islas. They're going to be spendy. I know they're going to be spendy. The Lagavulin, the Nick Offerman variety. I know they released it a couple years ago, and it's very difficult to find because it's sold out in most locations. And the MSRP is supposed to be like $75. And I think I've seen bottles for $150 to $300. So I might have to wait and see if they do another release. That's an 11-year-old Lagavulin, Bruichladdich Port Charlotte 10, Bruichladdich Octomore, Laphroaig Lore, Laphroaig 10 Cask Strength, Ardbeg Uigeadail, and then I saw on just this week the Whiskey Vault did a review of McCarthy's Oregon Single Malt, supposed to be $57 to $60. Probably a little bit hard to get outside of the state of Oregon, but I'm going to try and track that one down as well because they gave that a really good view. They said that was kind of going toe to toe with the Islas. So those scotches are the ones that I'm going to be trying to get. I know several of those bottles are in the $100+ category, so we'll probably only be buying those little at a time. Also, not related to Scotch, but bourbon. I have a heck of a bourbon list here also that I am going to be trying to get. And so here's my bourbon list. So Maker's 101, Maker's 46, and I know those aren't the most difficult to get, but here locally, trying to find a store that carries those can be a little bit tricky at times. Old Forester 1910 and 1920, again, not difficult to get, but $50, $60 a bottle, a little bit more expensive. Same with the Old Forester Estatesman. I think that one's like 50 something dollars. Wild Turkey Rare Breed, about $40, $45. New Riff Single Barrel. Haven't seen that in the stores around here, so I'll probably have to hunt for that. George Remus, E.H. Taylor Small Batch, Woodford Reserve Double Oak, George T Stagg, Stagg JR, Henry McKenna Single Barrel, Weller 12, Maker's 46 Cask Strength, McKenna 10-year, and Elijah Craig 12-year. So that's my bourbon list I'm going to be trying to focus on. Again, I know most of those are not super difficult to obtain, but they're hard enough to obtain here locally that I think I'm going to have to travel in order to find them. And so it'll probably take me a while. And like I said, probably only going to be buying 1 or 2 bottles a month going forward. So there we go. Anyways, this episode is about Caol Ila, okay? And so back on Isla whiskey, always looking for a new Isla, especially one a little bit cheaper. Trying to find something to replace some of the more expensive ones. I have tasted this one. I like it a lot. I think it shares a very similar characteristic and flavor profile to Lagavulin 16. It's just the flavor intensity and the peaks of those flavors are a little bit different, but it has the same flavors in its profile as Lagavulin 16. So if you're looking for a really nice Lagavulin 16 replacement, which around here it's no 80, let's see, it's $89 to like $120 depending where you buy it. This Caol Ila, it is, I picked that bottle up for $68.32, so about $30 cheaper. Still fairly expensive if you're not sure whether or not you're an Isla fan. But if you're a Lagavulin fan, I'd say go give this a try. This Caol Ila 12-year. For $68, it's not a bad deal. Of course, if you can pick up Laphroaig and Ardbeg for cheaper than that. So maybe you want to go that direction. But if you want to get in the same realm as Lagavulin, I would say this is a good starting point. Anyways, so this Caol Ila, 43% ABV, so 86 proof, aged 12 years. Not bad. One thing you'll notice, even though it is 12 years, it's kind of like the Ardbeg. I mean, take a look at that. It is, you know, hardly any color on that at all, even though it's 12 years old. But that's okay. It doesn't need the color to necessarily have the character. So on the nose, I get salty brine and peat smoke for sure. A little bit of a soft sweetness. Really soft, light vanilla, and a little bit of some kind of a fruitiness, like a pear, like a really tamped down pear, or maybe like a nectarine or apricot. Um, One of those fruits that's not like overwhelmingly fragrant, but in the light fruit category, and a little bit of I'm gonna say like pond scum. So if you've ever been in a swampy area where you get those big heavy mats of algae and pond scum growing on it, or if you've ever been in a backwater of a swamp or a river system or a lake that's inundated with phosphates and you get a huge algae bloom, um, it's like that characteristic swamp smell. You've ever been in a swampy area. I get a bit of that in the glass as well. Which to me, it's kind of an unpleasant smell, but it has a lot of memory tied to it because my high school, college years, my family's farm, there was a lot of lowland, swampland that I used deer hunting, archery hunting. So I spent a lot of time in a swamp as a kid, and there's a lot of good memories tied to that. And then just going to some of the backwaters on a river system back home, back where I was born, fishing with my dad. So a lot of good memories tied to that smell. So it takes me back when I peat smoke's good there, but very nice. And all those are really nice light notes. Nothing's over the top. On the taste, I get definitely heavy charcoal, campfire, ash. Um, I've described it before, like if you had a bonfire, doused it to put it out, flooded up all that ash and charcoal in the bottom, then drank that water. That's what I get. So it's definitely ash, definitely charcoal, a little bit of smoke. The mid palate comes in with just a hint of that sweet, butterscotchy, light fruit note in there. The finish kind of dries out as it pushes forward. Now on the nose, that swamp kind of taking over, along with a little bit of the smoke. Second sip, more butterscotch, more sweet. Um, that ashiness, charcoal, amped down a bit more on that one. Um, Sweet middle, a little bit of brine at the end, lots of salt. Like my lips kind of have some saltiness, kind of sticking to it. Um, I will say the first time I had this, it was definitely more Lagavulin esque, where I had more of those fruity notes in that mid. Not getting that now, but with the Lagavulin, how that works for me, each subsequent drink, I pick up more and more of that sweet middle, and the smoke and the ash tamped down. So it's kind of an interesting profile where you get a lot of smoke and ash forward, and then all of a sudden, as you continue to drink it and it opens up, then really nice sweet fruit notes come out. That was kind of my experience with this the first time. So see if we get the same thing with sip number. Now that time the nose is all butterscotch. So maybe we're moving into some sweetness here. Taste number 3. Very similar thing. So the ash tamped down, wheat picked up first, butterscotch vanilla, push them forward, salty, almost into a salt caramel for a finish. No bite anywhere in there. Well, I shouldn't say that. Maybe a little bit of black pepper on the very, very end of the finish, but no ethanol spiky bite to it. Flavors kind of move very smoothly from one to the next throughout the flavor profile. Nothing's really spiky. Very nice, well-rounded, smooth, easy drinking. It's not very oily and clingy, although it is very rounded. So, kind of what you would expect from a 12-year. I wouldn't mind seeing where this goes with another couple of years on it, but it's definitely worth picking up. I will stand by my initial assessment. Good replacement for Lagavulin for $30 cheaper. It is not Lagavulin 16. So, get that out of your mind right away. But it's a good substitute. It hits a lot of the same key notes for less money. So that's your jam. Go ahead, pick up a bottle of this. Drop in the comments down below if you have any experience with Caol Ila. Great whiskey. Also, what you can find a bottle for in your area. Once again, I said it was 60. Crap, now I gotta find $68.32 here locally. Drop in the comments anything you have to say. Please like and subscribe to the channel if you're getting any value out of this. Check out the description for both my whiskey lists and for links to my other channels, as well as some other channels on YouTube that I think you would really appreciate. And as always, thanks for watching. Catch you in the next video. Have yourselves a day.